How do I force NinjaTrader to only use my P cores, Vinny? I mean, I want my PC to run efficiently. Look, there's a P cores button. Finally, somebody figured out what we wanted to do and make it easy. Speaking of performance stuff, I'm going to show you guys some really cool stuff. I've got 3 new application tools. This one is called Hardware Info. This is called Process Lasso, and I'm going to talk to you guys about how cool this is. You can set your NinjaTrader to automatically go to high priority and go to performance cores without doing anything crazy. So Process Lasso, without having to deal with all of the stuff inside of your BIOS, this will automatically assign executables when they launch. So this is quick CPU. This is kind of the one I start with when my PC launches. First thing I want to do is go up here. I'm going to click on this little 3 bars thing. I'm going to apply the max there. You're going to see that core parking go from 4%, where it can go as low as 4%. Boom. Now I'm going to be using 100% the entire time. No core parking. That's going to be bumping this up here. And my P cores is the thing you really want to focus in on. P cores for me on a 14900 is going to go up to 5.7 with a spike to 6 gigahertz on 2 cores at a time. And now even right now, as I'm bumping this up here, I'm getting, I'm getting that 5.7 across the board on all P cores. All right. So first thing, quick CPU will unpark your cores and also will handle a power profile if your PC is not going to high performance. It does those 2 things for you. That is quick CPU. Second one I show is Process Lasso. So Process Lasso for me is a new awesome game changer, particularly on Windows 11. Now that I am on one of the 1400 series, because of the concept between performance cores and efficiency cores. I want to break this down in Vinny's way because I am so tired of reading online of all the complicated stuff that everybody else wants to explain things. Once you finally understand what's going on here in these newer things, you have 2 core types. All their extra performance is coming from, you'll hear this concept of P cores. So the P stands for performance, basically what you're actually paying for. And the E cores are extra for extra stuff, but they call them efficiency. Well, efficiently, I mean, I want my PC to run efficiently, but yeah, they use that concept. It's basically econo. Don't save my energy. Don't be fast. These are significantly slower. How do you easily make this happen? Well, you can go in the BIOS. I still want the E cores there to run things like my OBS and maybe run my music running in the background, my browser. Now let's talk about, I'll start with the lowest. So for instance, for me, the E cores in these run at 4.4 gigahertz. Now you guys know my thing. What if I told you the lowest for our system, if you want it to run at its beast mode, what's the slowest we want is a 4.5 gigahertz, right? So I don't want NinjaTrader to run on the E cores at all. So first I'm going to start with the concepts, and then trust me, I'm going to show you how easy this is to do this. I know it's going to get complicated right now, but follow through. P and E, I simply just do not want NinjaTrader here on E. Depending on which one you get, you got the 12900, 11900, the 13900, 14900. Each one is different numbers, of course, but I'll show you mine on these 2 little apps here that make it clear. So I just want to stop NinjaTrader from going here, and I want it always to go here. Get the idea and the concept, and now I'm going to show you how we do that. And let's write, well, with the P cores. Well, when you dig into the details of it, they have what's called favorable cores. This is the last series. The 14900 is the absolute last in this series where they are doing a single die chip. This is the last one. And then they're going to multi-die like AMD has done in the past. So this is it. This is as fast as it's ever going to get, 6 gigahertz. How do I force NinjaTrader to only use my P cores, Vinny? Right? That's the question. Oh, don't worry. Process Lasso comes to the rescue. Very cool app. All I got to do is come here into this little mid section here that looks like your normal Process Explorer. I'm going to move this over here to the right so you can see it. And I am going to scroll down until I see NinjaTrader.exe, which is currently running. This should look familiar, kind of like if you were looking in your task manager to go, I want to kill task, right? There it is, NinjaTrader.exe inside this little mid list here on all your processes. I'm going to right click NinjaTrader executable. CPU priority, first thing at the very top of this list, there is current and there's always. All right, so now right click, set priority, always. See, there's current, set to high, always. That's because in here, I went to always and I set this thing to always be high as a kite. Okay, so here we go, bright mode, set priority, always, and I'm gonna set it to high, done. And this cool little feature down here, Windows Dynamic Thread Priority Boosts enabled. Yes, I want that enabled so that it can potentially go up to 6 gigahertz, but if it gets 5.7, I'm happy on the P cores, right? So boom, high priority number 1. Affinity. A lot of people don't know what affinity is. This is the magical word for what we want to do. It's called affinity, and we want to set the affinity to always use certain CPUs. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to set CPU affinity, and I'm going to do always. And at the very, very top of this whole thing, I want to click on select CPU affinity. affinity. Select CPU affinity. When you do that, opens up a new window, because this is weird for me. Originally, I was like, okay, it's making me click each one of these individually, and it kept going off, and I had to do this over and over. Well, when you do select CPU affinity, you get this nice little checklist. So now, once we are in this CPU affinity, they've got some really cool buttons right here. Look, there's a P-cores button. Finally, somebody figured out what we wanted to do and make it easy. Thank you very much. Yes, I want to P-core this thing. Click on P-cores. Done. Watch, if I click E-cores, you see how it shifts the list? There's your E-cores. And yes, remember how I said there's a lot of them? There's 16, but they start with 0. Don't even get me started on the whole like, oh, we're coders. We start with 0 because 0 is the first number. All right, so CPU 0 through 15, I want them here, and it's as simple as click on P-cores. So guess what? NinjaTrader is now going to always do that. Now, I've also created a cool little thing. If you want to be in there and be cool like me, I went CPU affinity, always gonna go into select CPU affinity, and I gave it a name. So you can imagine one of them is Ninja VM. So I created 2 profiles to split stuff off, OBS and other things. I put music on the E-cores, but the main thing is just at least that you get NinjaTrader up on the P-cores. Make sense? Okay, so that is setting the affinity. Very cool little app there for Process Lasso. So let me show you kind of on OBS. OBS, that's our recording tool, right? So always, and if I go up to the very top, you notice all these have E's next to them. I just set my, and by the way, it does this all the time now. So, and you can do that with any apps on your PC. So any other apps that you want to, you know, put a little bit slower, 4.4 gigahertz is still fast. I mean, that's not slow. So it's a great processor. But if I want NinjaTrader all the way up, you know what I'm saying? CPU Z, I don't know why all the overclockers tell me to go do this. I think it's because of this one feature, bench right here. You can run this little bench test thing. I can click on bench CPU, and all of a sudden you'll see your cores run up real fast. So ours are staying up pretty good, but if I wanted to make sure it did it, I could click on this bench. I don't know that you really need this CPU Z. I would make this one optional, but there is a really cool thing. Go right here to bench, and if you want to run yours, you got the stress CPU, very easy to use, and then bench your CPU if you want to see what I'm going to show you next to run this thing up. That's going to be this app called Hardware Info. Now I can see, if you look real closely, we go from right here, there's a line from P-cores, and you'll see these running at my 5.7, right? And then these running at, looks like 4.2, but you'll see max, they were hitting 4.4.
Download your free trial at algoboxpro.com.